Hello guys, you're welcome again to another After Effects tutorials, and today I want to show you this amazing 80s retro style logo animation in Adobe After Effects without the use of any external plugin. So support me on this one. Do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, then turn on the notification. Come back, let's get started. Now inside Adobe After Effects, we're going to start by creating a new composition. We're going to make this composition 1920 by 1080. We're going to keep everything to 30 frames per second, and then I'm going to leave it to 11 seconds. The entire duration will be, then you hit OK. Right click on your timeline, go to new and create a new solid layer. We're going to name this BG. And then make sure we make comp size and then hit OK. Then we're gonna add a ramp effect, gradient ramp effect. We're gonna set the colors quickly. We're gonna set this lower color to somewhat dark purple. Then we hit OK. So we're gonna duplicate this BG layer, Ctrl D on your keyboard to do that, and I'm gonna name this grid. Now we're going to create that retro looking grid effect on this logo animation. Let's add a grid effect on this layer. Change the size to width and height. Then we're going to change the width and height to 90 each. Let's change this border to 1. And let's expand the feather and make the feather 0.5 each for the width and height. Add a linear wipe effect to this same grid layer. So we're going to collapse all these other effects so that we can see. Set transition completion to 40 and set wipe angle to 0 by 180. Set feather to 300. Now we're going to add a fill effect to this as well. We're going to set the color to something like blue. We can change this later, but it should be blue. We can know the exact blue when we bring in our logo. Hit S on your keyboard to reveal the scale property and set the scale to 1160. Toggle your timeline to reveal the 3D box. So we're gonna change this grid effect to 3D layer. We're gonna set X rotation to -90 and hit P on your keyboard to reveal the position property. Set the X position to 960, then the Y position to 1645.6, and the Z position to 5721. So we're going to Ctrl D on our keyboard to duplicate this grid layer, and we're going to pull it right up to make it go up this way so that we can have it both up and down. Now we're going to add a camera. So right click on your timeline, go to new and add a new camera object. We're going to leave it at 35 mm as default, then you hit OK. We're going to expand the camera option and then expand the transform. We're going to move to 7 seconds forward in time and then set a keyframe for point of interest, position, and then the camera orientation. So hit U on your keyboard so that we only have those properties visible. So we're going to come to this point right here. For the Z parameters on the point of interest, we're going to change it to 3112. I'm going to set the position for the Z to 3055.4. For the orientation, we're going to change this to 27 degrees on the Z value. Select all your keyframe. Hit F now on your keyboard to ease. Now select this and open your graph editor. We're going to make this look like this. Then for this, we're going to make this look like this on the curves. So we're going to select the point of interest and position keyframe, the last one here, and move it to 8 seconds 17 frames forward in time. Then we're going to select this orientation and just slightly offset it to start later, and this is okay. So if you preview, now this is what we're gonna have. So now we have the camera moving through this infinite retro grid design. So let's move our time indicator to about this point. So right click on your timeline, go to new and add a new shape layer. Expand the properties on the shape layer, then add a rectangle, then add a stroke. So we're going to expand the stroke property right here and change the stroke width to 3. And we're going to go up right here on the rectangle, expand the rectangle part 1. Then we're going to change this size to 600. We're going to go to transform and change the rotation right here to 45. We're going to rename this shape layer to rectangle. So hit enter key to rename. We're going to also make it a 3D layer. Hit P on your keyboard to reveal the position property and make the Z position 1110.8. So move your time indicator to about 3 seconds forward in time. Then hit T on your keyboard to reveal the opacity. Set a keyframe for the opacity. Then you move to 4 seconds, 15 frames forward in time and set the opacity value to 0. Move your time indicator to where you can see the rectangle as visible on your camera. Then we're going to first of all change this color, the color of the rectangle to blue. The blue should be the same thing with what we have before. So we can just pick it like this. So we're going to duplicate this rectangle now. Ctrl D on your keyboard to do that. Hit P on your keyboard to reveal the position property. We're going to change the Z position value to 1779.2. Duplicate it again for the third time. Change the Z position value to 2329.2. We're going to duplicate it one more time. Then hit P on your keyboard to also reveal the position property. Change the Z position to 3201.7. So select all the rectangle you have created so far. Hit T on your keyboard to reveal the opacity keyframes. So we're gonna offset the opacity keyframes like this, as you can see on your screen. Now create a new composition, Ctrl N to do that. So we're gonna name this logo holder. Make sure it is the same composition, 1920 by 1080. Then you hit OK. Now we're going to import our logo. Drag and drop your logo into the timeline. We're going to accept it to be footage. Then you hit OK. Create a new composition again. Then we're going to name this 3D logo. Make sure the setting is also the same thing with the previous one. Then hit OK. Switch to your project manager window, drag the logo holder composition into your timeline for the 3D comp. Ctrl D on your keyboard to duplicate the logo. Then we're going to select both of them and make it 3D layer. So the bottom one, I'm going to add a fill effect. I'm going to set the color. I'll just set it to somewhat gray. Then what we're going to do now is right click on your timeline, go to new and add a new adjustment layer. We're going to name this color control. Hit enter key to rename. On the color control layer, we're going to add the color control effect. Then we're going to lock this panel so that it will not shift. Then we're going to expand this to find the effect for the fill color, which is this right here. So we're going to pick whip this color to the color panel here on the effects and control. That is going to automatically link this. So for you to see what you are doing, if you just change the color right here to gray, you will see that on your timeline the color too will change. We now have our color control set for this. So what we're going to do now is to hit P on the keyboard. Then we're going to right click on this position property and select separate dimensions. So we're going to come here and we're going to alt click the Z value right here, the time stopwatch right here, and type in index, this simple expression index. Then we're going to close that. So what we're going to do, this is going to help us offset this on the Z axis as we duplicate it, so that we can create the 3D effect you find on the logo example that I played before the tutorial. So we're going to Ctrl D on the keyboard 50 times to duplicate this. If you want to see what you are doing, hit C on the keyboard to reveal the camera control. You can just tilt this slightly so that you can see the depth of your 3D. So hit V, then we're gonna Ctrl D 50 times to duplicate this 50 times to create that depth. Now, as you can see right here, we have our depth on this 3D. So what we're gonna do now is to select this topmost layer. We're gonna duplicate that. We're gonna add a fill color. We can unlock this panel so that we can have this to control. We can change this to black if we want. We're gonna add another effect called Vegas effect. We're gonna make some changes right here. Expand the image contour and set the channel to alpha. Here we can set the color to white. Now we can set the width to 1. Set the segment to 1. On the hardness, midpoint and midpoint position, we're gonna put all that to maximum. So now this blend mode, we're gonna change this to transparent so that we can still see our logo. Now we just created a bevel effect on this 3D. Now we're gonna select this again. We're gonna duplicate it one more time, but we're gonna hide that temporarily. So we're gonna import a texture. So if you have the project file from my channel, then you can import this texture I created in Photoshop. We're gonna move it above this visible logo layer. We're gonna move it up below it instead. Then we're gonna toggle this timeline and set the track matte to alpha matte. Now with this texture still selected, we're gonna add the motion tiling effect. Set this height to 66. Move your time indicator to 1 second forward in time, and we're gonna set a keyframe for the tiling center. And we're gonna move it right below. Then we'll move our time indicator to about 8 seconds forward in time, and we're gonna move the motion tiling above right here. Duplicate this texture layer one more time. Then you remove the track matte for it to none. So we're gonna duplicate this logo one more time as well. Then we'll unhide it. Move this above this logo, and we're gonna set the track matte to Luma. Now let's move to about 6 seconds forward in time. We're gonna hit T on the keyboard to reveal the opacity for this particular logo that we just set to Luma, and we're gonna move the keyframe backward. Then we set the opacity to 0. This will only show when it is at 6 seconds. So what we're going to do now is to also unhide this logo at the top, because it's going to be the final logo reveal. So what I'm going to do now is to move forward in time and also hit T on the keyboard to reveal the opacity, set a keyframe for it. Then I'll move the keyframe backward and also change the value of this opacity to 0. This will also show from this point. Let's move to the main composition. Then toggle this project manager window. We're going to select the 3D logo and then move it right into our timeline. And that is going to give us this, but this is not what we want. To correct this, we're going to check this collapse option. And that is going to move together with the camera. Now we're going to move down right here, select this first rectangle. We're going to Ctrl D on the keyboard to duplicate it. Then we're going to move it up right below the 3D logo file. So we're going to rename this to the main rectangle. And we're going to expand the properties. We're going to set the stroke width to 8. Hit T on the keyboard. We're going to also make sure we remove the opacity animation so that it can still be showing at the end of the animation. Then hit P on your keyboard to reveal the position property. Set the position value to 233.6. Let's create a new composition for the tagline. Then we're going to name this tagline. We're going to make the width 1500. Then we're going to set the height to 200. Every other thing can remain the same. Then you hit OK. So right click on your timeline, go to new and add a text. Then go to your main composition again. So we're going to drag this timeline right into the project timeline right here. Set the scale value to 60. Then we're going to make it 3D as well. Then hit P on your keyboard and then push the Y value below so that it can show below the logo. If this is already slowing down, all you need to do is to reduce the resolution. Let's set this to 3rd. So you might not be able to see some of these things again because I am recording and doing this at the same time. So I'm going to pull this right below this. Beautiful. So what I'm going to do now is to add a fill color to this. And I'm going to set this color to bright purple. Then you hit OK. So we're going to add a glow. Set the glow radius to 17. So duplicate this glow again. On the second glow, set the radius to 145. Duplicate the tagline again. We're going to off all the effects on this one. Hit T on your keyboard to reveal the opacity right here and set the opacity value to 30. The rectangle right here, we're going to change the color to match this tagline. Then you hit OK. So select this tagline, copy the glow effect on this, Ctrl C, then select the rectangle right here also and paste the glow effect to it. But we're going to make some changes to the glow. We're going to set this to 11, the first glow to 11, the radius, and the second glow we're going to make it 55 for the radius. On this main rectangle, we're going to add the effect called CC Light Rays. And we're going to move toward this ending right here. Collapse all other effects so that you can see the CC Light Rays. So we're going to set a keyframe for the intensity and the center. Move the intensity a bit forward and then change the value to 0. Then move forward in time. And then copy this keyframe right here and paste it to that point, and also make this point 0. We're going to animate the CC ray center. We're going to move to this point, then change the position, and we're going to move to this point right here and also change the position. Then we're going to move to this point right here to the end and also change the center position. So the next thing we're going to do is to right click on your timeline, go to new and add a new adjustment layer. Then on this adjustment layer, we're going to add another glow. Set the threshold to 39.9. Then on this radius, we're going to set it to 451. This is quite heavy now on my system because I'm recording at the same time and because of this 3D layer on it. So what I'm going to do is to just add a plus effect using the pen tool to just drive it. Then I'll preview the entire thing. We'll see what we have so far. So if you preview the entire thing now, this is what you have. So I used the pen tool to create the plus sign right here, made them 3D, and then randomize the entire thing on the Z axis position. So we're going to have this. So this is how you can create a retro style logo animation right inside Adobe After Effects without the use of any external plugin. If you learned something new on this video, please hit the like button that will enable the algorithm to suggest this to more people. If you have any question, please feel free to ask me in the comment section, and I'll reply to all questions as quick as I can. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can support me in any way. You can give me super thanks, subscribe to my membership, whatever way you want to support me with. Even if you share the video, that is also a huge support and it is highly appreciated. If you like the video, leaving a comment is all a support. So in whatever way you are able to support me, I highly appreciate you. So until I see you again on the next one, my name is SSB Otaru from MotionDigit Studios.